The morning sun painted the skyline of Lagos. Gold as birds hovered over the manicured lawns of Obidike's mansion, one of the most luxurious estates in Ikoyi. The house was vast, with glass walls and fountains that danced with the wind. It was the home of Alexander Obidike, a billionaire CEO who had everything money could buy, except peace. Just beside that grandeur stood a small, humble gatehouse, the quarters of John Miller, the mansion loyal gateman. The difference between the two homes was like heaven and earth, yet destiny was quietly crafting a bridge between them. John Miller was a man of humility and loyalty. He had served the Obidike family for 12 years, guarding their gates with the discipline of a soldier and the heart of a father. His only daughter, Isabella, lived with him, a 23-year-old graduate, soft-spoken, intelligent, and kind-hearted. Every morning, she would bring her father food and sit with him as he talked about life, patience, and dignity in labor. What neither of them knew was that those quiet afternoons at the gates would soon turn into the beginning of a story that would shake the walls of class, wealth, and status. One Wednesday morning, Isabella had brought her father lunch, a simple meal of rice and stew. As she handed the food to him, the gates opened, and a sleek black Range Rover rolled in. The car slowed, and through the tinted window, a pair of sharp, curious eyes met hers. He was young, handsome, dressed in a navy blue suit that looked like it was cut from wealth itself. The driver stepped out to open the door, but Alexander gestured for him to stop. He lowered his glass window and said calmly, "Good morning, John. Who is this young lady?" John, surprised by his boy's interest, replied respectfully, "Sir, this is my daughter, Isabella." Alexander nodded, his gaze resting on her a moment longer. "She looks like you. Well done, Mr. Miller." Isabella lowered her head shyly. "Good morning, sir." He smiled faintly, nodded, and the car drove on, leaving a trail of perfume and a feeling Isabella couldn't name. For Alexander, that encounter was strangely disarming. He had seen beautiful women in boardrooms and parties, models, socialites, and billionaires' daughters, but something about Isabella's calmness stayed with him. Alexander was the kind of man every young entrepreneur in Lagos idolized. At 33, he was the CEO of Apex Group Holdings, a multinational empire dealing in real estate, oil, and tech. He inherited a struggling company from his late father and turned it into a global success story. But the world only saw the luxury, not the loneliness. Behind closed doors, Alexander battled insomnia and distrust. Years ago, he had been engaged to Clara, a socialite, who left him the moment his father's business went bankrupt. Her betrayal left him cold, bitter, and weary of love. Since then, his heart was locked until that brief moment at the gate. Weeks later, John Miller fell ill. Fever, cough, and weakness left him bedridden. Isabella stayed by his side, worried. She used her small savings to get him medicine, but it wasn't enough. When Alexander noticed John's absence, he asked one of his guards, "Where is Mr. Miller?" "He's sick, sir," the man replied. Without hesitation, Alexander sent his private doctor to the gatehouse. He even paid the hospital bills himself. Later that evening, he knocked on the small iron door, something no one expected a man of his class to do. Isabella opened it, shocked. "Sir, good evening." He smiled faintly. "I came to check on your father. How is he feeling?" "Better, sir. Thank you for your kindness." Alexander looked around the tiny room, the worn-out furniture, the fading curtains. He was silent for a moment, then said quietly, Your father's royalty is real. He deserves care. As he left, Isabella felt her heart stirred with gratitude, not because of the money, but because he saw her father's humanity. When John recovered, he insisted on thanking his boss personally. He brought Isabella along, carrying a thank you letter. Alexander was in his home office when they arrived. As they spoke, his attention drifted to Isabella again. She had a quiet confidence, nothing pretentious, nothing desperate. "Are you working, Miss Miller?" he asked her. "No, sir. I have applied for several jobs, but no luck yet." Alexander thought for a moment. "We might have an opening at Apex. Would you be interested?" Her eyes widened. "Yes, sir. I would be honored." John hesitated. "Sir, she's not." Alexander smiled, cutting him off. "I believe in potentials, not status." And just like that, Isabella's life changed. Walking into the Apex Group holdings for the first time felt like stepping into another universe. Marble floors, designer suits, glass elevators, everything screamed power. At first, she faced ridicule. Whispers followed her everywhere. "That's the gateman's daughter. How did she even get this job?" But Isabella ignored them. She focused on learning, working, and proving her worth. Alexander noticed her dedication. She stayed late, organized his schedules perfectly, and handled stress with calm grace. He found himself watching her from his office window, fascinated by her sincerity. Their interactions grew friendlier. Sometimes he did walk her to her car. Sometimes he did bring her lunch. Slowly, something warm began to replace the cold walls in his heart. One evening, after a long board meeting, Alexander found Isabella still at her desk. "Why are you still here?" he asked her. She smiled. "I wanted to finish the report before morning." He chuckled softly. "You are too serious. And you, sir, you work too much." He looked at her, amused. No one ever spoke to him like that. As they talked, their laughter filled the quiet office. That night, he offered to drive her home. On the way, he asked, "Do you ever wish life were different?" She paused. "I do, but I have learned to find joy in the little I have." Alexander smiled sadly. "You are richer than most people I know." When she stepped out of the car, something had changed between them, unspoken, yet undeniable. It didn't take long for gossip to spread. Employees whispered, the media speculated. How can a billionaire be interested in a common girl? Is she using him? Soon, his board member began to worry. Investors were restless. To make matters worse, Clara, his ex-fiancée, returned from London. Married to a powerful senator, out of jealousy and pride, she decided to destroy Alexander's newfound happiness. She leaked private photos to the press, pictures of Alexander and Isabella laughing together in his office. Within hours, social media exploded. Billionaire CEO dating his gateman's daughter. Reporters flooded his mansion. The scandal spread like wildfire. Alexander was summoned by his board. They accused him of misconduct and warned that investors were threatening to withdraw. "You are destroying the company's image over a girl," one director shouted. "She's not just a girl," Alexander said quietly. "Then choose, Alex. Her or the company." He walked out without a word. That night, Isabella came to him. "I can't let you lose everything because of me," she whispered. He reached out her hand. "Bella, I don't care what they think." "But I do," she said through tears. "My father is being mocked. People call him names. Maybe this isn't meant to be." He wanted to argue, but the pain in her eyes silenced him. The next morning, she resigned and left without saying goodbye. Alexander's empire crumbled faster than he expected. Investors pulled out. The board forced him to step down, and his reputation took a massive hit. But none of it hurt as much as her absence. At night, he would stare at the gate where they first met, remembering her laughter. Meanwhile, in her village, Isabella tried to rebuild her life. She started a small tailoring business, working silently. Her father, now older and tired, would often say, "Maybe some love stories are not meant to last." She would just smile faintly, hiding the ache in her heart. 6 months later, a convoy of cars pulled up to their compound. The villagers gathered, murmuring. When the car door opened, Alexander stepped out. No suit, no bodyguards, just a man with tired eyes and a peaceful smile. "Isabella," he said softly. She froze, her heart racing. "Alex." He stood closer. "I lost everything. The company, the fame, the money. But I realized I could live without all that. What I can't live without is you." Her father stepped forward. "You are not that billionaire anymore. Can you give her a better life?" Alexander knelt. "Sir, I may not have wealth right now, but I have purpose, and I will spend the rest of my life earning her happiness." Tears filled Isabella's eyes. She knelt beside him. Her father sighed deeply, then smiled. "Get up, both of you. If love can humble a rich man, it's real." The wedding took place a month later in a village square. No luxury, no media. Just genuine laughter and the sound of drums. Alexander wore a simple white kaftan, and Isabella glowed in a traditional lace gown. When they exchanged vows, he whispered, "You taught me that love isn't found in mansions, it's found in moments." She smiled through tears. "And you taught me that wealth means nothing without peace." They danced under the stars, surrounded by family, joy, and music. Years later, Alexander rebuilt a new company, smaller, humbler, but built on integrity. Isabella became his business partner and the heart of his home. They renovated the old gatehouse and turned it into a guest cottage. Every morning, Alexander would walk with her past that gate, the same one that once divided their worlds. Now it stood open. Love, he would say, doesn't recognize gates. It walks through them. As the camera pans out, the mansion glows softly against the sunset. The once lonely billionaire now laughs freely beside the woman who changed his life. And that's how the billionaire CEO fell in love with the gateman's daughter. A love story money could never buy. Thank you for watching this story, brought to you by African Tales by Amah. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more African love stories and unforgettable moments. Don't forget to leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in my next episode. Bye.